About it like buying a car. You wouldn't buy one without looking under the hood, right? You want to know how it runs, how reliable it is, how much it costs to maintain. The same goes for businesses. Buffett wants to be able to sketch the company on a napkin and explain it in plain English. If he can't, that's a hard no. But it's not just about understanding, it's about durability. He wants businesses that can survive decades, not just make a quick buck. Coca-Cola is a perfect example. People have been drinking Coke for over 100 years. It's predictable, it's simple, and it has a moat, a protective advantage that keeps competitors at bay. Imagine trying to beat Coca-Cola at its own game. You'd need an army of marketers and a magic formula. That's the kind of fortress Buffett looks for. And it's not just brands like Coke. Buffett loved See's Candies because it dominated its local market and had fans who would go out of their way to buy it. The common thread here? Businesses that do one thing really well and keep doing it year after year. Now here's a question for you. Think about the products or services you use every day. Which ones could survive if a new competitor tried to copy them tomorrow? Buffett's first gate is simple in theory, but powerful in practice. If it passes this test, then it gets a shot at the next gate. If not, he moves on. Gateway number 2, management tenets. Here's the thing Buffett always says. When you buy a company, you're not just buying the product, you're betting on the people running it. You're basically handing them your money and saying, don't screw this up. So if you can't trust the managers, it doesn't matter how good the business looks on paper. Think about it like this. Imagine you've got 2 restaurants. Both serve the same food, same prices, same location. But one is run by a manager who cuts corners, hides problems, and spends money recklessly. The other is run by someone who admits mistakes, treats employees fairly, and actually cares about customers. Which one would you bet on surviving long term? Easy choice, right? He wants managers who are rational, honest, and independent thinkers. Rational means they don't get emotional with money. If profits are up 1 year, they don't go blow it all on flashy projects just to look cool. Honest means they admit when they screw up. And independence? That's huge. Buffett avoids managers who just copy whatever the competition is doing. One of my favorite examples is his investment in See's Candies. He bought the company not just because people love chocolate, but because the management team was razor sharp. They didn't waste cash chasing unnecessary expansion. They focused on quality, customer loyalty, and squeezing value from every dollar. That discipline made See's a cash machine for decades. Here's a simple way to think about it. If you wouldn't trust a person with your wallet for a week, why would you trust them with your investment? Numbers matter, but the character of the person steering the ship matters even more. Because if the captain can't be trusted, the whole ship sinks, no matter how shiny it looks from the outside. Gateway number 3, financial tenets. Now, most investors are obsessed over earnings per share, EPS. That's the flashy headline number companies love to brag about. But Buffett doesn't stop there, because EPS can be dressed up, massaged, and made to look prettier than it really is. He runs a kind of X-ray on a business. He digs deeper. He looks at return on equity. Think of return on equity like fuel efficiency in a car. If you put 1 gallon of gas into 2 cars, which one drives further? That's what Buffett is asking. How far can this company go with $1 of shareholder money? A company that generates a higher return on equity is like a car that can go 50 miles on a gallon instead of 20. It's just more efficient. But he doesn't stop with ROE. He goes after what he calls owner earnings. That's basically after you pay all the bills, replace the equipment, handle the boring maintenance, how much real cash is left over for the owners. Because accounting profits can lie, but cash in the bank doesn't. Here's a quick example. Imagine you run a pizza shop. You make $100,000 in sales in a year. On paper, it looks great. You've got earnings. But then you realize you had to buy a new oven, repaint the place, replace tables, and suddenly your actual leftover cash is way lower. Owner earnings are what you'd actually pocket. That's what Buffett wants to know. What's really left after the dust settles? He also checks profit margins. Not just are they making money, but how much are they keeping compared to what they sell? If 2 businesses both make $1 million in sales, but one keeps $300,000 in profit, while the other keeps only $50,000, which one would you bet on? Exactly. The one with fatter margins. Buffett loves companies that can keep a big chunk of every dollar they earn. And here's a sneaky one he uses. Retained earnings. Buffett looks at all the money a company has kept and reinvested over the years instead of paying out as dividends. Then he asks, what did management do with it? Did that money grow into more profits, or did it vanish into bad projects? It's like giving your friend $100 every year. If they come back in 5 years with 1,000, you keep trusting them. If they come back broke, you stop handing them money. Financial tenets are Buffett's lie detector test. They reveal whether a business is truly healthy or just flexing in the mirror. Gateway number 4, market tenets. Alright, so here's the part everybody gets wrong. People think investing is about moving fast, grabbing every opportunity, day trading, chasing hype. But for Buffett, investing is actually about doing less, way less. Here's the rule he lives by. Only buy when the price is way below the business's real worth. That's called intrinsic value. If a business is worth $100 and the market is selling it for $70, that's Buffett's sweet spot. If it's $120, he just waits. He knows another fat pitch will come eventually. He treats the stock market like a baseball game with no strikes. Imagine standing at the plate and the umpire says, "Take your time. No rush. Wait as long as you want. We'll only count the swings you take." Most people panic and swing at every pitch. They can't stand waiting. But when Buffett swings, he doesn't nibble. He goes big. This is where his idea of portfolio concentration comes in. Wall Street preaches diversification. Spread your money everywhere so you don't lose too much. Buffett laughs at that. He calls diversification protection against ignorance. Meaning, if you don't know what you're doing, spread your bets. But if you really know a business is golden, why put in pocket change? He'd rather put serious money into a few businesses he deeply understands than sprinkle crumbs across 50 stocks. And then comes the part that drives Wall Street absolutely nuts. He does nothing, literally. Once he buys, he just holds. For years. Decades even. He doesn't care if the stock market is bouncing up and down every day like a yo-yo. As long as the business keeps making money, he's happy to sit tight. He once joked, "The stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient." And he's right. If you own a great business at the right price, the best strategy is often just to leave it alone and let compounding do the heavy lifting. The payoff. Why this works. Okay, so after all this business, management, finances, and market timing, you might be wondering, why does Buffett's way crush almost everyone else's? The answer sounds simple, but it's insanely powerful. Compounding. Think of compounding like leveling up in a video game. At level 1, you need to grind forever to get stronger. It feels like nothing's happening. But as you stack skills and experience, each battle gives you more XP, which makes you stronger, which makes the next battle even easier. Fast forward, and you're basically unstoppable. That's how compounding works with money. It's slow at the start, but then it snowballs into power. Buffett didn't even become a billionaire until he was in his 50s. Before that, he was just a millionaire. Because compounding needs time. Once it kicks in, though, it's like strapping a rocket booster to your wealth. Now let me give you a super simple picture of why holding beats jumping in and out. Imagine you put $10,000 into Coca-Cola stock back in 1988 and just held it. Today, that's worth over $700,000, and that's not counting all the dividends you'd get along the way. But let's say instead, you tried to be clever. You bought, sold, jumped out when the market dipped, jumped back in when it looked safe. You probably would have missed some of the best years. Even missing just a handful of the top performing days can cut your returns in half. So instead of $700,000, you might be sitting on $200,000.